Hey, welcome to Planet Hex Review Time. I'm Andrew Hawnt. This is the mini episodes that I put out twice a week where I review something that I've rediscovered, revisited, or discovered for the first time in some form of pop culture. Normally I do videos on VHS culture, cult films, weird pop culture stuff, but these are the review ones that I put out in the week. And today I'm talking about this movie here, Kickboxer, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Sorry, JCVD, I do apologize. So this is one of the classics of the video era. This is one of the ones I would hear talked about at school back in the day a lot. Everyone, have you seen Kickboxer? Have you seen Bloodsport? That was the two that came up, both Van Damme movies, and that's the ones people would mention a lot. Have you seen Kickboxer? It's so violent. Have you seen all the martial arts movies like Bloodsport that Van Damme's done? They're amazing. Now, we all know that the best Van Damme movie is always going to be Hard Target. You know, feel free to disagree in the comments below. I would love some discourse on some movies like that. But Hard Target is, for me, the high point of Van Damme's career. I love that movie greatly, and I'm always going to like that. It was fun, and he had a spectacular mullet in it. I think the mullet should have got top billing over Van Damme, to be honest, but that was a great movie. But that aside, Kickboxer. So this is one of the ones that, you know, you would hear talked about a lot. And it's definitely one of the ones that got Van Damme his reputation across Hollywood, not Hollywood really, but across VHS rental shelves especially. So I revisited this on DVD, another charity shop pickup. This was about 50 pence, and I did see it back in the day. I did see it back on video, and I had fond memories of it, so I thought it was time to revisit it. So I've done that now, and I kind of wish I hadn't. I'm sorry to say that it does not hold up very well. It's still enjoyable in many ways, however, it is not the all-out brutal slugfest that you expect. Certainly not the all-out brutal slugfest that I remember it being. It comes across as a bit of a mix between The Karate Kid and Rocky 4. So it's like those two movies were put together. It's from 1989, as far as I remember, and it's a typical sort of martial arts revenge story. You've got the one of the good guys being hurt at the start, and of course Van Damme's character then needs to build himself up and build his strength and his skills in order to take on the big bad guy at the end and prove himself to be the greatest kickboxer around. And that's pretty much the story. There are ups and downs to it. There's some light moments of comedy. There is a scene where Van Damme is dancing, and that causes some serious Van damage to the old brain cells. See, I had to get Van damage in there. I had to get that term in there somewhere, didn't I, really? But it's enjoyable, but it does not warrant being an 18. You know, there's some bad language, there's some violence in it. The last 10 minutes, the main part of the movie where he gets to really show off as a kickboxer and as a martial artist is stunning. But the rest of the movie does not warrant an 18. I would say this should be reclassified now in 2023 as a 15 at most. There's not really that much in it that is beyond 12s of now, of the current era, but I would say that some of the visuals in there and some of the bad language would have it as a 15, but it's not as extreme as I remember it. I think maybe I'm getting it mixed up with Bloodsport in my head, maybe. And Van Damme, while he's never been the greatest actor of his generation, he has put out a good few films that have had some solid performances, such as like Universal Soldier or the aforementioned masterpiece that is Hard Target. I must revisit Hard Target again soon as a palate cleanser for after Black Eagle and Kickboxer. I don't want to put Kickboxer down because it is one that I have previously enjoyed, and it is one that was very popular at the time, and it's a shame that it doesn't hold up as well as some other films have from that era. You know, the script is not great, the directing's not great, the acting isn't brilliant. However, that's not what you come to a Van Damme movie to see, is it? You want to see some action. You want to see him doing some really ridiculous martial arts scenes. And you do get that from this movie, but they are a little few and far between, unfortunately. Some of the training stuff is the best parts of the middle section of the movie. There is a scene where he's where the Mr. Miyagi type character is trying to get him to really focus on one particular thing. I don't want to give any spoilers away if you've not seen this movie, but there's a scene where he's kicking a tree, and the passion in that scene from the character, it comes across that it's coming from the character and not Van Damme in that moment, and that is really good. That's a really good moment where it all kind of comes together. But the first half of the movie, it's a little bit of a slog for a modern audience, I would say, that expects a certain level of things. But back in the day, we didn't care. We wanted to see some martial arts. Yeah, we knew we had needed the setup, and we get some setup here, but we want to see some martial arts beatdowns, and that's what we do get towards the end of the movie. The end of the movie completely lives up to the reputation, and it lives up to the memory I have of this film. And I think that's probably the main thing I remember from it, is the climactic fight, which is pretty much unforgettable. I do recommend seeing it if you are a fan of late 80s action movies and you want to see what all the fuss was about with the muscles from Brussels. Kickboxer is worth seeing, but don't go in expecting a masterpiece for the ages. This is what it does what it says on the tin. There's kickboxing in it, there's Van Damme showing off the muscles and his skills, and there's quite a flimsy plot. It's not one that is held up well, but it is one that, if you're like myself, a kid of the VHS rental generation, it's one you can still get a lot of enjoyment out of. So that's my review of Kickboxer, revisiting Kickboxer after a long time not seeing it. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Planet Hex Review Time. Please do like and subscribe if you like the stuff that I do. If you enjoy 2 reviews in the week and a full-length Planet Hex at the weekend where I do crazy things, we'll talk about crazy things. The last one I did, I talked about the ninja movies of Joseph Light and Godfrey Ho. If that's something that you find interested in, do find that on my channel. And thank you very much for joining me. We'll do another review very soon.